Welcome, everybody, to the Onward VR Master League Season 11, Week 12 Venue Showcase. My name is Nightfire with two E's. I'm joined by my co-caster, Theta, and we are bringing to you a top 20 matchup worldwide, Mayhem versus Str1ve. And Theta, this is going to be a quality matchup. What are your thoughts before we kind of dig into the nitty-gritty of it all?
Well, very similar to the matchup that we had yesterday between Hell From Above and Kai. This is very much a clash between the old school and the new school. This is Str1ve Gaming's first season. They've already climbed all the way up to number 22 and are gold. And Mayhem's been around for a long time. I'd have to check the stats, I believe, going back to season 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But they are ranked number 13 worldwide, which is pretty low for them historically, yeah. But they're looking to get a bounce back on this match. So both teams have a lot on the line right now.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah, I mean, Str1ve, when you talk about being in the, I mean, again, we've talked about the top, I think the ranks 8 through 16 or something like that are all within the 1250 MMR range. They're all very close to each other in rank. And for Str1ve to be down in 22, it's really not out of reach to push up into that at least top 16 within the next few weeks of this regular season, because there still is time left. This win here would shoot them up. This would be a massive W for them. So I think they're definitely coming in the dark horse, the votes heavily favoring Mayhem on the site. But you know, Mayhem have been on a bit of a down streak. You know, they've been losing. They haven't really been performing up to what they could be. And like you said, they're into a rank that, you know, they haven't been down in all season. Several seasons, really.
Yeah, they're on a 4-game losing streak right now, and they may lose their master rank if they lose this match. So they're going to fight hard for that. And Str1ve, alternatively, could gain a diamond rank if they win. So, again, both teams not going to go down easy on this one.
For those who are tuning in and maybe don't know what you're tuning in for, this is Onward. It is a 5 versus 5 military simulator. Search and destroy style objective. One team is attacking the objective. One team is defending it. Marsoc attacks, Volk defends. We switch sides for each objective, and then a new objective spawns. So there's multiple maps in the map pool for our league, and teams pick a map and ban maps accordingly. We'll go into that in just a moment here, but also the ladder. You know, the ladder really a key element to the VRML. It provides a really nice ranking structure that truly does add a lot to the regular competitive play, because at the end of the day, these top teams are going to go in and compete for a good bit of prizing that comes through from all of the VRML sponsors, and we'll be shouting those out later on in the stream. But there's a handful of them that come together to offer in prizing for the champions, and I'm really looking forward to getting into the postseason. We're a couple weeks away from that, and there's going to be a lot of good games on the weekends here on venues in the coming weekends. I'm really stoked to tune in, and this is certainly going to be one of them. Let's talk about the pick bands coming in from Mayhem and Str1ve. Theta. From Mayhem, we have I believe it was a Suburbia ban, and from Str1ve we have the Downfall ban. What are your thoughts there? Because I thought Str1ve was good on Downfall.
Yeah, here's my guess, because I don't know exactly why either team would think that, but the ban for Mayhem makes sense because they're banning for strength. Str1ve has a 68% win rate on it. They seem to be pretty good at it, and Mayhem doesn't want to put them in a comfortable position. On the other hand, the Downfall ban, like you said, I'm not totally sure where that's coming from, because Mayhem has not been performing particularly well on Downfall this season. 50% round win rate. And Str1ve has only played it once, but they won, so they have technically a 100% round win rate. I'm assuming it's just preference at that point, or they're concerned that if anybody doesn't know this about Mayhem, they have Defilade, who is a sniper, and maybe they just don't want to deal with that on the map either.
We are just a few moments away from getting into our first map of the day. Map number 1 going to be Snow Peak, and this is the map that Mayhem have been playing well lately, and I don't know if it's because of the variety of the map and that it has both close and long range, but what is Mayhem's win rate on this map? I'm curious if it's what the choice is for them on it, because I'm trying to think how they've played on it. I can't really think of any standout strats that they've executed here. Maybe it's just they've stuck to the meta and executed that consistently.
No, their round win rate's 57%, so better than a coin toss, but still not their strongest map by a long shot. So, yeah, I really don't know what the thinking is here.
Yeah, we'll see. We're still waiting for that 5th to pop in to the Mayhem roster. Right now, it's Wookie, James, Capitano, and Mono. I think they're waiting for Defilade to fill that out. We'll see what that 5th is. Over on Str1ve, we have Lonwick, Toxic Boss, Bezichu, Cheddar, and Crimson, and that's the standard roster for Str1ve Gaming. So they'll be coming in feeling comfortable and confident. But it's really, I do think this is going to be a pretty good back and forth for map 1. I don't truly know what to expect out of Str1ve. They have had really good flashes of quality gameplay, but at the same time, they've also struggled with a couple of losses throughout the course of this later half of the season, and I do want to see if they can compete here against Mayhem. It's a big test, but like we said earlier, it's a big opportunity, and you don't really get presented these kind of opportunities very often at this stage in the ladder, in the league, and so in the season. So that's what I was looking for, and so a huge moment for Str1ve here to capitalize on. I gotta wonder if maybe they put a little extra homework, a little extra research into the Mayhem team, because there is plenty of footage to look at of Mayhem playing almost every map.
No doubt about it. In Season 10, they were the most casted team in the league, and this season they have had many, many casts, so there's plenty of research material. And I think in some sense, Snow Peak gives them a little bit better of a chance, just because looking at their stats, they seem to do pretty well on close quarters maps. Now, you can look at this thing and think, wow, it's a gigantic map, but there are some objectives that are very CQB, including the one that we're starting on. And it looks like they're launching with 4v5.
Wow. Tough choice they have to make, but we are closing in on the 15-minute mark. We weren't quite there yet, but surprised to say the least, because Mayhem typically have that extra player in their roster to pick from. They are choosing to go in the 4v5. I think Defilade was having some technical issues. Hopefully those can be solved, but clearly they just didn't have enough time in their, left to wait, and so we've kicked off 4v5. I wonder how long, again, they will play with this. Hopefully they'll be able to dip into their roster and pull out a 5th, because they do have a powerful roster. They have 8. They have the ability to fuel 5 several different ways.
Yeah, I think that's just the downside of playing in an amateur league, because obviously if they're professional esports athletes, then they've got a salary and they're sort of mandated to show up. But in the VRML, we're all kind of just playing around our real life schedules, and it can be hard even with a full schedule to get everybody to show up.
Well, Mayhem now certainly putting themselves at a disadvantage, and if anything, the opportunity for Str1ve gets amplified, right? You now have an advantage going into this start of the series. Certainly got to at least lock in the Volk round here, but after this, Mayhem could call a timeout, buy a little bit more time for Defilade to try and sort the tech issues and connect, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe Mayhem are just going to take this 4v5 and try and beat out Str1ve. Either way, James pushing up quickly here to the corner. A nice nade over into a common corner position. No one there, but that would have airburst anybody that was tucked in.
Yeah, very precise grenade placement there, but Str1ve Gaming is electing not to put anybody in the outside of the objective. A little surprised by how far off they're putting their other defenders, because right now they're not really using their numerical advantage. It's going to be a 3v4 if everybody decides to close in on the objective. Although at the moment, Mayhem's taking... Oh, as I say that, Toxic Box takes out Wookie.
Oh, and a nice nade again from James. Pretty close to where the threat could be, but Toxic tucked into the tunnel. There is a flank coming through on the backside. Capitano is rotating around. I think he'll end up actually coming in through the north and connecting with his teammate who is already over on that north tunnel side. But it is really kind of Mayhem, just a little bit disconnected right now on the timing at least. We'll see. James is really just going to have to continue to wait while the rest of his team sets up because Mono already over here in the north. I think he's going to continue to shift inside. Maybe they're going to try and pinch onto Lonwick.
Yeah, Capitano in a position to shoot Toxic Boss in the back, but he didn't see him because of the placement of those boxes, and then Lonwick pops out and catches him before he comes around the corner. So, yeah, this is why the numerical disadvantage to begin with is such a problem, because now it's 2v5. And in this game, it is really hard to come back from that.
To your point, though, it's a 2v3 right now. If James and Mono were to just push in, they would actually have their best chance. Lonwick and Toxic are so far away from objective that they're not really threats on it, and James is going to stay disciplined, hold his angle. Maybe it'll pay off. He might be able to catch Toxic and Lon both overextending. You only get one. Can't find two. And now it's a 1v4 for Mono, and I'm not sure what Mono's route is here, but maybe it'll work.
It is a tough spot to be in, because he's going to go through the tunnels. That means he's inevitably going to get funneled into one direction. He's only got 2 minutes left, too. But the thing about this objective could give them some hope is you can, because there's so many entrances, you can just kind of bop around, even with limited time, and pick people off. And it's actually really hard to get supporting angles on everybody because of all the boxes and pillars inside that room. It's not unheard of for a 1v3 to go the way of a 1 in this particular scenario.
Yeah, it's true. Like I said, the route, like you mentioned, it depends on the route, what they take, how he takes it. The only real struggle is the event of a trade. You know, that does happen when you go into those individual challenges. It's really going to take an exceptional push out from Mono, the proper utility usage and the right timing to catch these players out and get the kills he needs.
He's about to crest the 1 minute mark. And he's coming towards a doorway that Bezichu has a lockdown on. Now, he did a moment ago. As I said that, he moved away from the angle, but Mono has 55 seconds to make a breach.
I mean, he's close. He's right here. And it is a 1v3. They have the other one floating in the tunnels on the backside, so finds one. That's the kickoff. He doesn't have time to drop back. Doesn't hit that smoke exactly where he wants. And if he continues on this rotation, Lonwick is going to actually be on the backside. But Lonwick dips off, doesn't commit. And Mono's going on an interesting rotation. The distracting smoke. He's going to try and catch the side of Crimson King here by popping out this tunnel. 15 seconds on the clock. King definitely looking over towards those smokes. And Mono is out of the backside. King's here. He finds King. He's tablet out on objective. Mono's going for the code. He's in a 1v4, and he's going to get... No, the time runs out. Oh.
Wow. He almost pulled that off. That was incredible, but just not enough time to put those numbers in. So close.
A play from Mono. I mean, we talk about the route. That was executed perfectly to a T. Gets the kill, instant smoke, perfect distraction, drops off, rotates around. Oh, man, I need to take a breath after that push because this is just the first round of this series, and, man, the 4v5 certainly delivering on hype. Mayhem nearly had a 2-0 lead. Wow.
Yeah, and under those circumstances, 7 seconds to cap, and you don't even have like an accurate kill count or anything. That's so tough.
Yeah.
So he did the best you could possibly hope for in there. I think he has even a few more seconds. He gets those numbers in, but timing just didn't quite work out in his favor in that moment. Still an excellent try by Mono there.
I just wonder where Sky is, where Deflade is, where their other options are. Potato Bot, they have 3 other players that play consistently. And I guess to your point, it's just all about scheduling. It's just maybe, you know, they just don't have the availability. But I always do say it's important to have that deep roster that you can dip into. In the case that someone isn't available or you do have a technical difficulty, you can sub one of your 3 other players in. But it just doesn't seem to be the case that Mayhem have that available. And you could dip into the reserve pool, but we've talked about that the other day, and that's kind of a it can actually hurt you more than help you sometimes to have a 5th that's not in sync with the team. And so I can't blame them for choosing to take the 4v5s, but I would expect maybe a timeout here to come in, and we would try and get a little bit more time for one of their 5th to get sorted and join in. Again, maybe they're feeling confident enough that they can just keep going into the 4v5s, but you know, it was a 1v4 and he almost got the cap. That opportunity doesn't get to present itself like that again.
No kidding. But at least if you're going to have a numerical disadvantage, it's better to have it on defense. And considering how strong they came out the gate, this is an opportunity to defend and potentially tie it up. I think, especially with this objective, you can kind of stay pretty close and still do fairly well.
Yeah.
Okay, I just got a message. Mayhem is, in fact, calling a timeout.
Okay. Well, that's cue for us to hit the intermission. We will take a brief pause in the action. Everyone grab a drink, heat up a cup of tea, and get ready for what I think is going to be a pretty crazy matchup. Hoping Mayhem can get all 5 in, because from there, I don't know what to expect after seeing that first round. But either way, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back into the action after this break. More VRML coming at you.
Starware. Our passion is for the
Welcome back, everybody. We are diving straight into the action from our timeout into a 5v5. Mayhem have been reinforced with Defilade on their roster. They are now a full squad. And while Str1ve have managed to get one, it was just barely, so gotta wonder how the rest of this series is going to go. Big question marks in my mind, Theta.
Same. We saw a near clutch on a 4v5, so with a full strength on Mayhem, I think this is probably a good sign for them, but we'll find out.
Well, indeed. Cappy pushing out aggressive here in the tunnels on the hunt. For at least one, but Toxic has the height advantage, catches him a little bit of a lean up there on the ledge there, and Str1ve off to a good start. Mayhem back into the 4v5.
Down to the 4v5 with less than a minute passing on the clock. That's not great, but Still, when you're on defense, having 4 up is still pretty powerful for the most part.
Right. Right, and they did definitely invest in sending 1 out. It is a risk, and you know it when you take that risk. And so to your point, maybe they're kind of accepting they just need 4 ultimately on OBJ, but if that 5th can get a pick or 2, then that's worth investing in the risk.
Yeah, just like we were talking about in the Kai and Hell from Above game yesterday, if you have a flanker who can even just slow down the offense and force them to invest resources and get their timing off, that's extremely valuable. But as you were saying, it's a risk, and we just saw it when the risk doesn't pay off. Cappy is sort of the team flanker, and he's quite good at it, but sometimes the dice just don't roll your way.
Str1ve playing this one patiently here as they do slowly surround OBJ. They're taking their time simply because there's so many different ways you can defend this objective. MAYHEM have opted to invest 4 inside, but you can get risky with it. You can do other aggressive rotations on this north side that can get you kills, but it is a risk in a similar fashion to what we saw at the start there in the tunnels. So MAYHEM have opted to, again, keep all 4 inside, and it's just going to be a matter of time before Str1ve gets set up for their entry.
And Lonwick putting some smokes on the front door of the objective. It's like they're guessing the same guess that James took, which is that there's going to be somebody on those sandbags in front of the door.
Okay, clear.
But likewise, they are not playing anybody outside the objective this time.
It's the variety. You know, you really can do a couple of different strats here, and that's why, again, it's taking them so long to get up and to get set up, because they're really clear in everything. They're making sure they're not going to invest into a pick. The trouble is, though, is that this is costing them utility. That's a flash that comes out into the corner. That's not even going to catch anybody. That could have been a flash that would have done serious damage if thrown into the doorway.
I would argue on this objective, having utility thrown into the objective room itself is much, much more valuable than the outside, because a lot of teams play this way. A lot of teams do not put people outside, and putting smokes in particular and flashes inside the objective is incredibly powerful because you can hit multiple people with them in such a small space.
This is interesting. I think they're going to go with the audio suppression from Lonwick on the door while Toxic and his duo push up here. They're going to need that continuous suppressive fire, though, because Deflate will be able to hear in the corner.
And Toxic Boss right around the corner from Defilade now. Ooh, but Defilade hurt him and gets the C4 down. Crimson goes for the revive, but it is too late. He is reviving a corpse now. He is by himself in that hallway.
Good nade tossed out the door, denies Cheddar for a second. Lonwick begins the setup here, but I anticipate more utility prepped to be thrown at these doorways. Here comes the LMG.
And Deflate once again around the corner from the player from the other team, and he gets him. Crimson King goes down, and Bezichu now coming through the same hallway. And Deflate gets a triple off of that one position. Now 4v2 in favor of MAYHEM.
Great job from Defilade to come in here and shut it down. James denies the entry there from Cheddar, and Lonwick going to try and suppressive fire his way in, but Defilade's there to find the kill in the corner. MAYHEM tie it up 1 apiece. A solid hold, but a decent attack there from Str1ve. I liked throwing their attempts coming in from different doorways. The problem is they were just a touch out of sync, and even then you could still hear the amount of communication required for MAYHEM to stay on top of where the entries were coming from. But still, just a good coordinated attempt from Str1ve, but not quite enough, and MAYHEM tie it up 1 apiece. Hopefully Deflate comes back in shortly, because he was a standout killer there on that round, and probably going to want him for this next OBJ, as it's also going to be tight quarters.
And you can see the impact of having just 1 extra player in on a round like that, because if they only had 4 and they lost Cappy right at the beginning, that's a 3v5, and that's a much less winnable scenario. And Defilade's just a skilled player too, so You can see he gets a 4K on that round.
Yeah.
Obviously a big contributor. He is back in the game now, so I don't think there'll be any issues there. And like you were saying, that was a good attack. It's just the timing was a touch off, and when you're playing against a team like Mayhem, your timing has to be fantastic because they can coordinate very, very well.
Yeah. Yep, precisely my point. You really, at this level, you really got to do everything you can to win these rounds, and it's going to take maximum coordination from these squads to be able to get these dubs. And I want to see how Mayhem attack now because they've got 5 alive, and they nearly got a cap last round. So I almost wonder if Str1ve may be feeling a little bit nervous.
Could be. Yeah, and I think there's going to be some nerves going against a team like Mayhem just to begin with.
Right.
Just because they have a reputation for being so good. Even if they have been on a losing streak, you just think to yourself, wow, these guys have been around for a long time. This is not going to be an easy match. And you almost get in your own head in some sense.
Right here.
Into our next round we go, round number 3. Str1ve on the defense, and as mentioned earlier, we switch objectives. So Str1ve will defend, next time they'll attack this same objective, and then we'll go to another new one. Another indoors objective, though, and it's just all tight quarters here. Lonwick is going to be extending out just a touch. I wonder if he's going to continue to push into the tunnels and try and be a threat early to anyone that's going to be pushing in. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case, and it may just be a bit of a slow rollout as we take a look at the overhead. 2 going into the south, 1 up north, and 2 taking their time pushing in through the center. Maybe the 2 in the south will be the first to run into action.
Yeah, I think Mono and Cappy about to run into Lawn. And first round's come out. Cappy should be able to get that. Oof, 2 for 1.
That is a smart play there from Lon. He knows that he has a ton of ammo to work with, so why not just keep shooting after finding one? The odds of there being a duo there on the sides is pretty good. Oftentimes you invest 2 there, and that is a huge start for Str1ve Gaming. It did cost him 1, but still, to shut down that whole south push, it just makes the pinch that much less effective.
Indeed, and that's why it's so useful having LMG players in those kinds of positions, because they can just pre-fire corners and keep pre-firing. As you said, even if they get 1, might as well just keep firing in case there's a unit coming at you and not just an individual. And James now approaching Crimson King in the north. And a nade is about to come out.
Mm-hmm. Known for his nade tosses, this should be pretty on point. There it is.
And as usual, just a GPS-guided cruise missile of a nade to take out Crimson King. Now there's only 3 left on objective.
Proper utility applied. This becomes really just 1. If they can get a smoke here, basically where Bizachu is, get that kill. Cheddar and Toxic are going to have to crash through it, and so I wonder if Wookie is going to sync up properly with James and Deflade here, make an entry in through these side tunnels and be able to pop out from the side. He could really do some good damage if he comes in from the back, although they are covering it, and the commitment comes in from Deflade. Maybe a little bit out of sync. Bizachu finds 1.
The timing on this attack looks like it's not quite where it should be, because Wookie's still a ways back. He's getting closer to the objective, but James is at a point where he can crest and get a good look at the objective, but it looks like he might decide to just back off, or at least buy himself some time.
Yeah, the smoke he threw there, not ideal. I'm gonna go for a nade toss, and that is pretty decent. Doesn't go quite far enough. Had the right trajectory.
When a counter nade comes out, just a little short.
And now James just needs to sit and wait. 2:40 on the clock, plenty of time. Wookie needs to get in position, and then they're set up for a good pinch. Well, for an attempt on a pinch. That's a good pickup, though. That'll work.
Limit 3.
Now, Toxic Boss rotating to the north, hoping he can get a refrag or at the very least reinforce the objective now that his teammate has gone down. Wookie looks like he's about to split between the two of them. I think James just spotted Toxic Boss. Yes, he did.
Ooh, Toxic shooting over the top of the box, James. Okay, he doesn't get caught out by that. Wookie still hasn't made his entry in yet, and they still have a lot of time. 2 minutes to work with here. They're looking at objective right now. James, he overextends here. He loses a very strong position that he's in right now.
And he really needs to get... James really needs to get a pick onto one of these two, because Wookie's about to walk into both of their lines if he doesn't. Oh, and he elects to go around the opposite side, which turns out to be the better move.
James comes into the smoke. James there does apply a little bit more forward pressure, and they're worried about those smoke plays. Wookie with a great distraction there. Does force the rotation. They are able to catch out a trade. Cheddar now has to crash and has to actively defend OBJ. Wookie's there in the smoke. Cheddar's actually going to get the res. Try and turn the tides here a little bit back into a 2v1. The res could cost him, though. Does he get it? He gets it.
Oh, and an M203 takes out Toxic Boss, and Wookie rotates back. Now it's a 1v1, but oh, if he comes through this hallway, Cheddar's looking right at it. He still has 50 seconds.
Just prepared for it, and well, Cheddar does have to check both ends, but he's almost anticipating this kind of rotation. Maybe not, though, as he does push up, exposes himself on the corner. Wookie peeks out, takes the shots, and finds a Mayhem. With a Marsoc round in the belt, take a lead 2-1. A bit of a rough start, but maybe they've gathered themselves here, and Str1ve got to be careful. They're going to have to win a Marsoc round here. Mayhem are going to be in a comfortable 3-1 position on map 1.
And that was just a clutch move to shoot that M203 there at Toxic Boss, because it just evened things out. I'm not sure Cheddar even picked up on what was going on. It's such an unorthodox move to make in a CQB situation like that. And then he just kind of had to panic because he wasn't sure where Wookie was going to come from, and Wookie played that beautifully as a result.
I like the kill feed. It's the M203 impact kills. It just spams kill, kill, kill. So, yeah, I don't even think that's something that... I mean, maybe it happens, but I don't know if that was the intended purpose of that M203 launch. I don't think it was supposed to be a direct hit sort of kill. I'm sure he wanted to get the explosion out of it, but either way, it pays off, and good solid job there from Wookie. Now, again, we switch sides. So Mayhem defend, Str1ve attack, that same objective. And the only thing that can change is where Str1ve spawn. The varying spawns for Marsoc come in and changes up how you attack. One of the things we talked about yesterday about how Onward is such a different esport than others, in that you can't be guaranteed in where you're going to approach from. So even in the minute and a half of planning that they have between rounds, there's no real way to know where you'll be actually attacking from until you spawn in, and then you have to communicate what the plan of attack is going to look like. And so for the first start of this round, let's just tune in to Str1ve Gaming and see what they're strategizing with this fast spawn.
27. Well, be ready for immediate engagement, guys.
Oh, and they did get the quick spawn, as they call it, which means they are within striking distance almost right away.
827, 86, 60, 827.
Although so far Str1ve Gaming has been playing pretty conservatively on offense, so they may not try to take advantage of that. They may just take their time, see if they can get a couple picks right away.
East tunnels, we're engaged.
He's on the floor. He's on the floor.
Alright.
Toxic swings out, gets the trade, communicates the location, and it's going to be a 4-4. Not necessarily any advantage, but Deflate is going to swing back around to reinforce on this side, and it's just a matter of time before Str1ve are attacking here, and Deflate is going to be exposed. He does turn at the perfect time, catches out Lawn Wake. The pressure not coming in here from Crimson King as the smoke comes out, but Deflated with an attempt to get to utility does get picked up by the second player there. Bizachu able to get that kill, and we're into a 3v3.
One more down, one more down.
James swings and gets that kill on Bizachu, but Cheddar returns the favor with a refrag. Now it's just Cappy and Wookie on objective.
And it all comes down to Cheddar. No comms, no team support. I don't think he even has much utility on his arsenal, if any. Could potentially pillage his dead teammate back there a little bit, but even then I think they already used the smoke when they were making their push up that lane. So it's going to come down to Cheddar finding picks with his rifle, and he's going to take the option of going down the side tunnel. This may get him an angle onto the side of Wookie.
Okay, I'm gonna cross.
And then they could go into a 1v1. Wookie actually going to go for the cross, so they could come in to an exchange here quickly. Cheddar doesn't even get the refrag onto Wookie. Wookie with a great peek, completely catching Cheddar off guard. Mayhem are up 3-1.
Yeah, and that round went exactly the opposite of what I predicted, because we had, I think it was a 3 or a 2v1 within 4 minutes, something like that. So Str1ve Gaming decided to push it a little harder than normal, and Mayhem decided to say, nope, we are not going to let that happen on this objective. And now they are going to an objective that is a much different beast in the North Hangars. And on this one, I suspect we will start seeing some sniping out of Defilade, if I were a betting man.
It's kind of the interesting thing about this map is how much variety there is in the way that it's played. Because it is as big as it is and the way that it's laid out, there's close quarters OBJs, and we just saw the 2 of them. That's it. That's all the close quarters there is. The rest is all kind of placed out in the open here, and Marsoc typically has a pretty long journey to get to the OBJ, and so things like snipers, 12-time scopes, all of that becomes very valuable in what you could consider, I suppose, the later half of this round, but it's random where the objective is. It just so happened to be that we went 2 close quarters back to back and are now here out in the open range, so to speak. And so, yeah, to your point, Mayhem, great on the range. Not exactly a weak point for them here, and look at the kills. They're all feeling pretty good in this series so far, managing to get a bunch of kills on the board for everyone. And definitely, you got to remember, had that 4-0 round earlier, so he's on even a bigger KD than it says.
No offense, I love them, but let's get
Into the action we go, though. Round number 5. Quick math off the top of my head.
Hey, I need to win, man. I need sexy time.
Yes.
You know?
I'm just saying it for the. I'm just saying it for the
My wife
cast.
gave me the same thing.
Str1ve, pretty relaxed. You heard him joking around, having a good time. I think that's the real important thing that I always love to point out, is that it is ultimately, at the end of the day, just pretty fun to play in the VRML. You know, it's a good time to play competitively, and if you're not having a good time, then you're not doing it right.
Yeah, it's a lot of work and stress, and if you don't have a smile on your face regardless of the result, then I don't know what you're doing out there. 'Cause it's just an enjoyable game regardless.
Truly. I mean, I've said it since it's been out. Truly one of the best VR games. You know, the interactions and mechanics are rivaled in almost no other shooter. You know, it's one of my favorites and always has been my favorite VR mechanic-based game. And you know, I think that's what really does make it such a fun shooter, is because those mechanics are so fluid.
Yeah, confirmed.
Due east of the lake. Due east of the lake.
Look at this. Look at Crimson King way out here in the lake. I think after getting alerted of that north spawn and those early shots, Crimson's going for a wide flank,
Stuck in the middle of the
trying to
lake on the
potentially
rocks, so-
catch out some, I don't know what. I figure he'd go to bunker, but he's taking a pause here.
Yeah, and Defilade now in the North Passage He is sniping. He has the scope out. He has put his laser on a couple of defenders. There's also some lasers coming up his way and some shots being fired. I think he might have been spotted by now. Hard to tell from my perspective, but yeah, if anybody exposes themselves for too long to that scope, it is not going to be a good moment for them.
Yeah, Cheddar's definitely putting rounds over here. Just keeping Deflate honest, not peeking out too much. Lonwick swings wide there. Deflate can't catch those shots. Oh, and it's not Cheddar who's shooting, it's Lonwick. Just kind of popping out here, taking shots every once in a while. The center position coming in there on the lake was identified as well, and so Str1ve, if they lose that extension in the center, are going to have a very weak setup here along the lake side. Crimson King is in an important position.
Bezichu and Lonwick are in this spot because this is the biggest weakness on this objective. If they take this beachhead and get in behind, it's cap central. So a lot of teams have figured that out, and you can see there's heavy reinforcement on that. They've got Crimson King as kind of an early warning, Bezichu watching more towards the east, and then Lonwick and Cheddar right on objective. They really don't want to lose that beach. And Crimson King, speaking of which, goes down on the lake.
Yeah, and I'm guess if anything, a bit of a radar for you, right? A bit of an indicator that there is some threat there prevalent on that lake side. And I mean, Lonwick does good to peek out over where those shots came from and find a quick answer back. Nips that blank in the bud. There is still one down in that far west side, but at least finds a quick refrag. Oh, no, he didn't. Sorry, I was confused on the kill feed. Str1ve actually lost their forward defender over on that other side, on the east side, and so, excuse me, they're into a 5v3 now for Mayhem, and yeah, that's certainly, well, they're reinforced over here, but it's all they have on defense now.
And this is exactly where Mayhem excels. They love this encirclement game, and they're already getting it going. They've got Wookiee coming in from the west side of the lake to capture that beachhead I was mentioning before. They've got Capitano in that east tower area, and Defilade and who is this? And James coming in from the north side. Just a threat in every direction, which is exactly what you want the other team to be feeling. And Mono just takes out Lon. So now 5v2, now 5v4, or excuse me, 2v4.
Good plays here from Bezichu, though, to stall this approach. Good flash on the Wookiee, prevents the aggression from coming in while the smokes are out. He dips off there as Wookiee does push up, comes back for the look, and Wookiee's there looking for the challenge, and it's just a bit of a ring around the rosy for Bezichu and Wookiee doesn't get the satisfaction of the kill. Cappy actually threads the needle through the doorway. And Cheddar now holding OBJ, and this is a great spot for him to be in as the last defender.
Yeah, that was a fantastic play. Wookiee sort of chased him off with those smokes, and then Cappy caught him as he came through the doorway on the backside.
That's one. Cappy's in a penetrable building. Oh, doesn't look up into the tower. Wookiee, if he had gone down, there was a route there for Cheddar to come back for Str1ve, but Mayhem, after having a bit of a bumpy start, put things together and get 4 unanswered points in a row on map number 1. You got to remember, it was their map pick, and so it's a map that they're most comfortable on, and now Str1ve get to choose where we head here for map 2. I think USS Quest would probably be a good choice, honestly.
Yeah, I think Mayhem generally wants to stay on ranged maps, so taking them to Cargo, taking them to Quest, that's usually a good idea. I'm not sure. Well, I can't tell if Defilade dropped or maybe. Oh, they're making a new lobby, so I think it is likely we are going to USS Quest, as you said.
I've been duped before on the lobby remake, so unless we're moving from 5, I didn't notice we were on 5-minute rounds or something. Yeah, we certainly could be heading to USS Quest. We will see. Wait for that lobby to get sorted out, but off to the races we go here. Snow Peak into the hands of Mayhem, and you know, it wasn't Str1ve put up good fights there. You know, they brought those rounds down to 1v2s. In a lot of cases, it was just the last round that ended up looking really good there for MAYHEM. And I think there's potential for Str1ve to find the kills they need on a close quarters map like Cargo, like USS Quest. And it is going to be USS Quest for our second map of the day. Get the password here. Fill that out here for you, the audience, so we know where we're headed. USS Quest, Wookie, what are your thoughts on this map? You know, people compare it to Cargo simply because it's close quarters and has cargo crates, but I feel like it's different in a lot of ways from how that map works.
I'm of the crowd that thinks it's pretty similar. I like to call it Cargo on a boat personally, but there are some key differences, and namely there is this red lane on the right side of the map, and then there's the catwalk on the left. And there have been some truly spectacular plays coming, especially from that catwalk. A lot of teams, because it's so chaotic in these close quarters matches, what ends up happening is you lose somebody on the catwalk side. You don't realize it because there's all these smokes and fire coming from the opposite, and somebody flanks around to the back and wipes out the whole team. We've seen that several times this season, and I haven't seen teams really... There's a couple, I guess, that are pretty well practiced on it. Peacekeepers come to mind, but most teams are still sort of a question mark on this. It's kind of a toss-up, which I think is likely why Str1ve Gaming picked it. It's sort of an equalizer because not many teams have a ton of experience on it, even the ones that have been around for a long time.
Yeah, true. I think it is the right choice in this situation. It's the one of the key situations I like to talk about when it's a good time to pick a custom map like this, or to pick a map like Quarantine that has so much variety and new objectives. You can get that slight advantage. It's not much anymore. You know, most teams in the top 20 in particular are pretty well practiced with every map, and you're not really going to catch anybody off guard in particular. And to that end, this is going to be the best chance for Str1ve to catch MAYHEM off guard. I think the close quarters combined with it being a bit of a fresh map, again, not that fresh for these teams, but a bit fresh, it'll be their best bet. We'll dive into the action and listen into the comms of Str1ve as we kick off round number 1.
I'm with you.
You can move up a little bit, man. We're close.
A little bit more than the Hesca wall?
I always love getting a little bit of a gleam into the audio, you know, just to see what they're talking about, what they're chatting. And it's always clarification, you know, it's always someone saying, hey, you should try this, or you should be going there. And I think that's because teams just tend to gravitate towards having a specific leader in place that directs and guides the strategy.
Yep, as they say, the IGL, or in-game leader, in more traditional first-person shooters. Whether it's designated or not, every team has a player like that sort of directs the round for his team. And as I say that, Lonwick picks off mono.
Okay, I was red lane.
I mean, there's the downside of pushing out to that edge side.
Yep.
You can get caught out, and now they don't have any coverage there, so that lane actually becomes very viable to push down, and I wonder if Str1ve will invest in maybe sending Lonwick over onto that edge.
It wouldn't be a bad idea, because with these close quarters maps, you open up one hole and things can start to spiral for the defense very quickly if you know how to exploit that hole. And Cappy and Toxic trade, but Toxic is not dead. Quite a shot, too, because Cappy only had a tiny sliver of his head coming up over that obstacle, and still Toxic turned it into a trade.
And he popped up, too. You know, it was not he saw him there the whole time. It was as he was checking, suddenly there's a head.
Yeah. See some crazy reflexes coming out of these newer players.
5 left alive here for Str1ve as they get that res off. No one getting picked off down red lane just yet. Wookie playing it patient. James a bit scattered here on objective, and Deflade watching that far edge in the corner. I like the setup, really. It is a good 3-man hold, but as I say that, more smokes in the push comes through. Down goes James on OBJ. Deflade has to rotate. If Wookie gets properly distracted here, there's a cap opportunity for Str1ve.
Yeah, Deflade just checked and realized he had to go. He did one last check on that catwalk. Because he was likely thinking what I was describing. He does not want that flank to come. But now they have to worry much more about a cap attempt happening directly on the objective.
Yeah, and you can see the bit of panicked defense it requires. Wookie has to scramble on OBJ, and Bizachu doing good to just get information. I think they're going for the cap here. It seems very intentional not to necessarily go for these kills right now.
Yeah, I think you're likely correct about that. I mean, 5 up with this much time left and you're this close to the objective, it would make sense. Oh, but Lon's about to get this refrag running up right behind Defilade. There it is, and now it's just Wookie on the objective.
Oh.
Ooh. He just saved Mayhem 2 points. That was very close.
The final kill getting secured by Lon Wick, and regardless of it being a cap or not, a good start for this Str1ve Gaming team. After a rough go there on the first map on Snow Peak, they do manage to at least kick this off again with a bit of a lead. I don't know, this I think, you know, again, all objectives on USS Quest, I think, are capable. I feel like it's one of the rare sort of situations, even on cargo, you know, it's like some maps, some OBJs are like, well, you can defend this one if you just play it tight. But all these objectives on USS Quest are, well, they're a challenge. You know, if you lose certain defenders, there are routes for capping on nearly every one, and there almost was a cap there for Str1ve, but not quite.
Well, the challenge on this particular objective is that you don't really have a place where you can watch it from a distance. So if they start running through the red lane, for example, and they survive that bottleneck and they put 2 or 3 on the objective, you've got to get in there and get in their face. You cannot hold it from the backside of the boat. You can't hold it from the left or the right. You really just have to be right there. We actually saw that because Wookie was right near the objective and he almost got capped on because the person was right there, but the angles where you can see the objective and the cappable areas are very, very small.
Kill feed there, Lonwick 3-0. Certainly doing his job. Pop into the comms here of Mayhem on offense this time and see what they're chatting about. We dive into our next round.
Smoke. Another smoke available. Another smoke available.
I'll take it.
I'm full.
Jeez Louise, who's going with me over here?
Sorry, I'm trying to offer you a good time, sir.
Who's with Deflade? Who's Deflade's man? Yep. Mono, you with Deflade?
Again, having a good time. You know, they are focused in. You can hear the strats there, locked in. They're sharing smokes for a reason, but still, you know, throwing jokes out, playing it light, and again, that's the important factor, right?
For sure. And it's, like we were talking about before, it's just fun to play with your friends, too. And these guys have been playing together a long time. Regardless of result, they're going to be laughing and enjoying themselves.
Gotta keep an eye on Deflade. There's a fast red lane push coming in here.
Oh, wow. Crimson is beyond tucked in this little corner right around the way from objective. Mayhem taking a much more measured approach. Sort of taking their time. They did push Mono and Deflade up pretty quick, but now they're sort of slowing down.
Crimson identifying that and
Oh, on camera too, I just spotted a C4 directly in front of Defilade.
Toxic finds Cappy there over the shoulder, but yeah, that C4. Surprised it hasn't been identified, really. It does kind of stand out, but I don't think they can see it over the ledge.
No, I don't think they can either.
The end of Red Alley.
And Crimson has a specialist loadout right now. He is just waiting. He's trying to bait shots and then get a view of them.
We're down.
That's a big pickup from James. They've got the C4 done, so that's ineffective, and Crimson on a bit of a rotation. If he overextends here, he's going to get shot and punished. Mono's there. The headshots don't get secured. Nobody hits anyone. And Crimson able to cross, not unscathed, but does heal and tuck in onto objective, and Defilade and Mono still have to push in. James not quite synced up with the squad. He has an easy kill here on Crimson. If he takes it, can't quite get the angle. Oh, actually, there's the kill.
So Defilade tries to put Pat out, get the code in, but Bezichu takes him out before he has a chance.
Wow, Lon Wick finds James in a trade. Bezichu and Cheddar left alive, snag Str1ve their defensive round, and this is the perfect start to their map pick. Exactly what they need to do. They've picked it properly, too, it seems, as they are able to win in these close quarters engagements, and Str1ve now, with a nice 2-0 lead, are looking at a potential map point here if they go for the cap. And like I said, every objective's capable. If they get the right picks, there's approach here that can be hard to detect. With the right smokes, it's certainly an OBJ that, actually I think about it, I think this is the one that I haven't seen really capped very often.
Same. I can't think of a cap off the top of my head that's happened on this objective. There's really two routes here that make sense, which would be either from the red lane or from the catwalk.
Yes, that's exactly.
You can kind of sneak up. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're right. That's exactly what I was. I didn't want to cut you off, but the catwalk is really what I was kind of thinking. If you can get up onto that side, you can pop up and essentially run straight at the objective on the back side of it. And so it's dangerous if you lose control of any one of those sides.
Exactly. And coming in from, I guess, what would this be? The south side of the objective doesn't make a ton of sense. So a lot of teams will kind of go light on that because it's such a no man's land. There's so much open space over there. But yeah, if you don't have a tight lockdown on that catwalk, people can just kind of creep under there, pick people off, and then run up the ramp and get straight to the objective.
Same time, Str1ve with a 2-0 lead, it's nice, and you might just want to go get comfortable, try and get the kills, and then take your defensive round here, because to the point, this one doesn't get capped often, and so why not just try and lock it up in 2 instead of go for the riskier play of pushing in for a cap? It's situational is what it'll come down to, where the picks come through and where the pushes come in. It's all going to come down to who wins these engagements and who can adapt best to what they've lost, as we do get into our next round. Already shots coming in down those lanes.
And Wookiee occupying a spot in the red lane. I would assume he's trying to... Yeah, he's got C4 in hand. He's just trying to find a spot now. Oh, he's got a clacker already. I'm going to try and find his C4 placement. Oh, it is inside the container, right in front of him. Yep.
He'll be waiting patiently for any audio cue, and let's see, here's it. He'll detonate. He actually might even be looking... I don't think he can see much, but looking for any sort of movement through that crack there as well for that detonation. But either way, it's nicely placed. Can't be shot at until you commit to crossing those boxes. And it works to camouflage it, but the trouble is if that you're just a touch off on the timing on detonating something like this, you know, the box actually blocks the C4 from doing damage.
Yeah, it's sort of very narrow C4 window in that thing.
Yep.
Because if they go around the container, for example, they're not going to get touched by it. So when Bezichu takes out Defilade, but Defilade is not dead.
Surprised he doesn't go for the confirm shots there. I think you can see the body. There it is.
Nope. And there it is.
Just in time, too. That res was about to come in.
One's going to red lane.
When James primes a grenade and... Oh, just misses lawn. I thought it was going to land in the middle of him and Toxic, but not quite.
Here comes the push. Toxic and Lon have control of that south side. To your point, they managed to get the picks they need. And now the smokes are coming into objective. I do think they have the cap on their mind, but if Cappy can shut this down, it's going to be bad. Pikachu finds the on-objective defense. He's in the smoke.
Oh, Cappy doesn't see him in there. Cappy doesn't see him. This cap is happening. And there it is.
Str1ve lock in a cap and take this to a map 3 decider. Got the scoreline wrong there. And technically they take the point lead here, 5-4. What a great map pick. And I mean, how wrong could we have? I mean, I guess we were right. They used the edges to draw out the rotations, but they just caught out all those rotations so well up in through the south and then applied the proper smoke screen to push through. That's what it comes down to, getting enough smokes out and enough coverage, and that was just good coordination and good commitment to the cap. Now we go to Mayhem's favorite, or at least what seems to be, as of late, Subway for map 3.
I have to say, I was a little surprised when I found out what the bans were, and then the first map was Snow Peak. Now, they're good at Snow Peak, but Subway is Mayhem's favorite map by far. I remember, I don't know exactly what the stat is right now, I'd have to pull it up, but I remember my last week on Mayhem, they had a 90% roughly round win rate lifetime on Subway. That's crazy. You do not see numbers like that for a map across a team that's been around for as long as Mayhem has and has played as many rounds as they have. So they know this map and they know how to play it well.
Yeah, I think the real threat of Mayhem on this map lately is just how much they have been innovating on the strats. They've been pulling off new techniques and stuff that I haven't seen executed. They've been smoking certain lanes that I've never seen avoided, and it's, I think, scared teams from letting them choose it. It's so often banned against them that, to your point, it is maybe surprising to see that it wasn't picked first and that it is even in the map pool for Mayhem here today. I don't count Str1ve out, though. I mean, heck, they just won in the close quarters on Quest 4-0. What's to say anything's going to be any different here when we do get into these tight quarter objectives like this first one of the day, which is going to be China Market.
And I did receive a message that Str1ve Gaming is taking their time out.
Okay, suppose that's also a timeout for us here on the desk. We will cut to a brief intermission and come back with map number 3, Series Decider. Do not go anywhere. The action will kick off in just a few minutes.
are aware. Our passion is for the
Welcome back, everybody, to Onward VRML Season 11 Venue Showcase. We are into map number 3, the series decider of Mayhem versus Str1ve. My name's Ben, Nightfire with 2 E's, my co-caster Theta with just 1. And a C4 toss there coming in from Crimson. That is a beautiful toss, Theta. Look at this placement on the pole.
Wow. That's some precision with the C4.
I don't know if that was intentional, truly, but he threw it there, so I don't know. A great toss either way. Nicely placed. Going to be hard to ID up there on that pole. But teams do really thoroughly check those walls when they make their approach. At least you should.
Well, the nice thing for them is that the light is facing away, because that's the thing most players are sort of trained to look for, is that green light. But the profile of the C4 block itself is sticking out.
Right.
And they generally don't just rush this hallway. They will check it, because this is a common C4 area. So there is a good chance in my mind that they will spot that.
Free fire from Deflate into the common corner there. Oftentimes players invest the defender in that dark corner. Also where he's shooting there, another common defensive spot, but Mayhem not really gonna find much. Str1ve have all tucked in pretty tight. They've invested, I guess, Toxic somewhat extended in the north, but everyone's pretty close around objective.
And Crimson King just blew that C4, so element of surprise on that is lost, and they no longer have that explosive defense of the Horseshoe Alley.
They toss it to the corner. That would have done damage, but no one's home. Defilade is trying to clear out, and I don't know, what's the play here from Mayhem? Are they going to put 2? Yeah, I think they're all just setting up on the edges, right?
That appears to be the plan. Again, Mayhem loves encirclement. That is kind of their go-to game plan on every map. And so they don't usually push unless they've got people in position from multiple angles. And James about to throw a grenade, I think right onto Toxic Boss. Oh, a little over. Now there is just nothing but tension in this north alleyway as Mono right around the corner from Toxic Boss. James watching the backside.
Make sure you're giving me the good angles. Gutter and Toxic there now are lined up in that alleyway. Mono and James gonna make their entry in the same time. Lonwick able to find one in a trade on the other side. Have to keep our eyes shifted back over here to the north as James and Mono inch closer and closer to Toxic, but they didn't push off of that commitment in the south. And oh, that's a great flash up and over onto James. Mono able to be there on the short corner though. Catches out the push, and that's a good bit of teamwork coming in there from Mayhem.
I know Toxic heard James giving call-outs, but I don't think he heard Mono, so he came around that corner thinking that he had blinded James, which was correct, but he just did not anticipate that Mono was going to be around the corner supporting him. I realized I did not have my bind on there, so we should have good angles from the co-caster desk this time. James now moving around to the horseshoe, or the catwalk as some people call it. Oh, and downing Cheddar.
Good toss lobbed up over through the center and that smoke. Crimson's going to push out, looks for the refrag, but Wookiee has dropped off. Fully sunk back, and there's a minute 45, so they have time. And I think he's just going to wait for his other teammates to set up. Defilade and James have made it through the catwalk. Monarch has all control of the north. Crimson is able to get the res, or should be able to. And Str1ve should be back to 3, but it's allowing Mayhem all the time they need to set up. I don't even know if they're... Wookiee's at least not waiting. He's already pushed in, found 1 kill.
-1.
That leaves only one left alive in the back corner, and those shots are coming in from Deathblade. Finds the kill over the top of the objective there, and Mayhem on their map pick off to the races with a 1-0 lead, taking the Marsoc round nonetheless.
In commanding fashion, no less. That was a 1v4 at the very end, and that last defender just didn't have a chance. They were coming in from every possible angle, so attention being diverted, you just can't do anything about that when it's timed correctly as a single defender. You're going to take out maybe one or two as you go down, but there's no way you're getting the rest of them if they time that correctly.
Looking at the kill feed there, Wookiee Deathblade 2 apiece. Only one kill coming in from Str1ve, and you know that's always the tough loss to swallow, right? When you don't even get refrags onto your enemy, and it's just you going down on defense in particular. It's going to take some willpower for Str1ve to come in here. Granted, you know, Subway's kind of crazy, so I think anything's possible if they can find some good nades, and depending on how Mayhem's set up on defense, Str1ve certainly can't answer back with a Marsoc round of their own. But they're going to need to start shooting and securing kills themselves here. Heck, maybe we'll just be trading Marsoc rounds. Who knows?
Maybe. And this is an objective which tends to be easier to defend as long as you don't allow your edges to get collapsed like what happened on the last round. But we'll see. Str1ve is shown, especially on USS Quest, that they're not against trying out a variety of different play styles, and maybe that'll throw off Mayhem this time.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see. Into round number 2 we go. Mayhem now on the defense. As mentioned earlier, we swap sides. Str1ve going to be attacking, and pop into the comms of Str1ve, see what they're chatting about.
40. Most west. Most west. Go, go, go.
Copy that.
And already an attack coming to the south.
Just good comms really coming in. Consistent stuff. Making sure that they're pushing up off the suppressive fire and confirming what's clear, what's not. Crimson taking control here, and a nice little clean push up here from Str1ve as a squad. They've taken control of South Stairwell, and it's now just a matter of pushing through, where you got to look for C4, you got to worry about Deathblade, got to get control of the north, and it's just going to be a little bit of time before everything gets put into place for Str1ve.
And you can also see right next to this hotel sign, next to Wookiee's position, he has deployed some C4. So he's just kind of waiting. He's trying to see if anybody gets aggressive down this alleyway, because you cannot see that C4 until you're basically on it.
Wow. And I like Wookiee's position. I mean, geez, I've never seen the position so tucked in. Not only does he have that smoke protecting him, but he is deeply camouflaged in this dark corner. And look at what they're seeing there. Let's try and turn off the X-ray. There it is. You can't even see him in the corner.
A lot of players don't use night vision on this map. I personally take it all the time, but it's light enough, even though it's a night map, that you don't necessarily need it. And anybody that tries to make that attack and doesn't have night vision on is going to be, let's just say, having a hard time dealing with that because it is so dark.
Let's take a look. It's going to be Crimson King who's going to push this down. He does have it as a tool, so he can flip it on if it's not already. I don't think it is, but he's in this bright corner here, so he could toggle and he could potentially spot Wookiee there in the corner. Cheddar is also making his way up, and so maybe Cheddar, I just don't know. I don't think I've ever seen anyone there, so I don't know if Cheddar is going to really check that corner.
Cheddar needs to be extra stealthy on this, because if Wookiee hears those footsteps, he has a bit of a peeker's advantage. He can just kind of run around there, or Cheddar, if he doesn't check it, is just going to get shot in the back.
Hush, as you said, he has to play it quietly. Wookie definitely hears Cheddar there off of that crawl, though.
Ooh, so if Str1ve times this correctly, Wookie might get distracted by one and get taken by the other. This is getting real dangerous for him.
That's that night vision, but Crimson's backing off. Cheddar's not committing just yet. Wookie does swing out wide and dives for the kill. Blows his position and is still in a good spot. Has the C4 there for Crimson King. I don't know if Crimson spotted that yet. I don't think I've seen shots taken at it.
And James drops the flash right on Toxic Boss in the north alley. It clearly gets him because Toxic Boss immediately dips, dips below the dumpster.
Oh no, and
James
kills.
picks him off.
Coming across the field here. Yeah, James finds that down that north side. Bizachu goes down to deflate in the corner. Crimson King going to be challenging Wookie soon enough. That C4 still there on the wall, and I don't know, again, if he's taking shots at it yet.
It appears to still be activated, so Crimson decides to go through there anyway, and Wookie gets some sense that he's there. No, he decides to turn around and run, which is likely the better decision in that situation.
Still, though, 5 left alive here for Mayhem. Not exactly an ideal attack setup for Str1ve. With a minute left, you got to get the res onto Bizachu, which should be uncontested. Turn this into a 3v5, but they're gonna have to root out Deflate. Mono's got the cross coverage. It's gonna be incredibly hard to get control of this side of objective. And while both sides are tough, Wookie had C4 placement, and they got the double coverage here. So we'll see what Str1ve can do. I don't think they have any utility either.
At this point, they've just taken too long. They've got 40 seconds, and they're gonna try to do a multi-pronged attack. So they're going to have to push it a little bit and take some risks. They have no choice now. Definitely picks off Bizachu. No refrag possible based on the way Lon had positioned himself. And Crimson King gets taken out by that C4 on the opposite side. So it's all up to Lon Wick, and there it is. Mayhem goes 2 up.
Oh my god.
All 5 alive. And again, when you talk about momentum and feeling positive about your gameplay, to only have 1 kill in 2 rounds now for Str1ve, that definitely hurts. I think they've lost anything they had on USS Quest, and I don't know, thankfully we shift objectives. If we just kept playing that one, Mayhem would just continue to secure rounds. But even then, the objective we are going to, I think, is certainly capable.
Yeah, the mid-platform objective. As long as you can control that tunnel right next to the objective and get some smokes on the ramps near it, even if people are in good position, you can kind of force some crazy rotations at the very least, or at best get a cap out of it. And once again, this is one of those situations where experience is really going to favor Mayhem here. Because if you don't know how to play this objective well, those 2 points can come out awfully fast.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like why not just commit to a heavy basement push, charge out the stairwell, and apply a proper smoke screen around objective. I'm sure that would throw a curveball towards Str1ve, and I don't know, maybe they'll bat it back, but they certainly have struggled, at least on that first OBJ. Again, Str1ve did great on USS Quest. They were playing coordinated. Their communication is there. And this is a huge opportunity for them. So there's a lot of pressure on Str1ve right now. If they can win this, they're going to jump up the ladder a significant amount. It's going to put them in a good place for the rest of the weeks of the last few weeks of the season, where they could potentially get up into the top 10. So, Str1ve with an opportunity here present after getting Quest 4-0, and you can hear the motivational speech from Lon Wick here.
No caps, guys. If you are in doubt, rotate back.
Roger that.
And yeah, I mean, they're aware, right? No caps. No caps coming in from several of their players. They're very aware of this threat. And look at what they're going to be challenging this basement. Toxic just comes flying out the stairwell, and it's a free kill for James.
Wow, and James even calling out who it was. So clearly they've done their research on these guys. Yeah, that's... You get enough footage on the team, you can figure out their habits and pinpoint exactly who is doing what. Mayhem showing their expertise in doing their homework on their opponents right there.
All the way under train tracks. You ready for that?
When Crimson King is waiting, he has a C4 right above where Mono is.
No, 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 no.
Oh, and you heard it was identified. Big pushback. Mono botches the nade. Oh, it's a flash, thankfully.
That could have been terrible if that was a frag.
Yeah, that would have been the end of this push. But at least the C4 doesn't catch him. Mono continues to charge up. Crimson there on the corner. Catches one, but he's not dead yet. Actually, Crimson knifes for the confirm, and that frag gets the refrag. And so with kills on the basement from Lonwick, we're into a 3v3. And I don't know if James is aware that he's getting pushed in the basement.
I doubt it, but if he clears Bezichu right now, this becomes a very capable objective.
It really does.
Lon needs to pick up the pace. I don't know if how much he's coordinating with Bezichu right now, but if they can figure out that James is pinned right here, then Lon is in a fantastic position to come up behind him and shoot him, but at the moment he is not moving very quickly.
Wookie's past Cheddar. He's going to be able to get down into these train tracks and also be able to sort of challenge Bezichu a little bit. Oh, no.
And there it is. There it is, the cap opportunity. Now wide open. Although Lonwick now coming up the stairs. Slowly but surely, and now he's cresting that doorway. Oh, there's no way James is expecting this.
There's a flash. Good pickup from Lonwick. Wookie's looking for the kill onto Cheddar in the back. He's spotted him out, and he's got him suppressed. Trying to make this a one-defender team right now. Cheddar cannot peek out in the slightest. If they had a push coming in from Defilade on the other end in a stealth moment... Oh, down goes Lonwick. Defilade can just push up.
And Mayhem Alexa just take the safe route. Get it up to 3-0.
Yeah.
Now, match point potentially. Mayhem playing defense on this. This is going to be tough for Str1ve. It's not impossible, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, a solid bit of performance here from Mayhem. They're up 3-0 in a commanding fashion. Again, if you look at those KDs, only 3 or 4 kills getting picked up on that round by Str1ve. 3 kills getting picked up that round by Str1ve. You know, in comparison, Capitano, the only player, 0-2. Everyone else, 4, 4, 2, 5. You know, Mayhem really doing good to find those picks and then advance off of them. That was the first time that Str1ve did get refrags, though, and did it well. And so, you know, maybe they can adjust. 3-0 comebacks are not out of scope by any means. We could very well take this to a 3-3 if Str1ve can regroup here off an offensive round.
No doubt about it. We have seen crazier comebacks than that in this game. So a team that is at this level, you can never count them out. And it's actually a challenge in some cases if you're on the more experienced team that you don't just look at that 3-0 when you're ahead and say, oh, we've got this in the bag, because that's when you get surprised.
I'm curious how Str1ve will attack. Again, are they going to go... Yeah, you know, you can't... Maybe you go for a cap, but I just think the mentality right now is probably pretty protective. You know, if I'm Str1ve, I'm staring at a big win here if we can manage to get this, and you know, it's maybe something I wouldn't even expected to get. A lot of the connoisseur votes in favor of Mayhem. I don't think anyone really anticipated us to be down into a best of 3 in this series, but Str1ve did it in commanding fashion, and I'm not going to count them out just yet. Maybe they'll go for the cap, who knows, but I imagine they're going to probably play this conservatively.
I don't suspect that Mayhem's going to take too many risks on the defensive side. As I say that, Mono and Toxic Boss right around the corner from each other. I think Mono heard him and decided to back off, force them up into the staircase. Better to have that angle advantage outside the door than to try and face people face to face on the staircase itself.
I didn't see any C4, and I don't see Mono holding one.
For my C4.
But what's interesting is that he did call out that he placed a C4. And that's something we've seen more and more of lately is audio baits. I've been catching a lot of them on stream lately. It's been really cool. People calling out downs, mimicking deaths off of nades. It's gotten kills, and it does pay off in a lot of ways. It's a unique element of this game that you can hear proximity communication, and Mono definitely trying to bait out a little bit of a maybe overcommitment, but can't quite get it, and now he's going to sneakily work his way back down the stairs.
It's a clever tactic because there is not a C4 down there, but he knows there's people and they're going to be listening, so just the thought that there's a C4 on that staircase is going to make people hesitate. If you can get people to slow down in that staircase, it's a nice little bottleneck that you can trap them in.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a bit of a waiting game as Lonwick and Toxic are doing that basement entry. They'll eventually take those stairs, and I think that's going to be the timing indicator for the offense. At the same time, they are, again, it's just all about getting in sync. Crimson's not quite down into the north side yet. I'm sure they're going to want him to be controlling the north. If they just all time up, they are well positioned to attack. Bijachu's right there to push up the stairs on Mono. If the trades go their way, I like the setup and how it's working so far.
Looking at the map right now, they are so spread out at the moment. And they've got roughly 3.5 minutes, so it's not the end of the world, but they're going to have to start getting a little bit closer to objectives, start coordinating a bit more to make this work.
I feel like the south entry here would be pretty powerful. I'm looking at Defilade's position. I like this. You talk about blending in and camouflaging. He's certainly hard to identify here, but also has good coverage of a lot of different angles. He can do the small head peek for north, but he can also swing if they lose control of the south, and he can properly defend that from being capped.
It looks like we're about to get a bit more of a stage, and then they're going to start attacking because Bezichu rotated away from that objective staircase. Toxic Boss and Lonwick now taking positions on both of the basement stairs. And they have to know that they need to start attacking soon.
There's one north split.
And Crimson King positioning himself in the north as well.
Cheddar's ID'd James, so they know his position. Lonwick, I think, then shifts off of that stairwell because it's not exactly safe to peek up. James can challenge anyone that tries to push up from that stair.
I don't think Defilade saw Crimson King cross. It's looking somewhat in that direction, but not directly at him. Now Toxic Boss starting to creep underneath Defilade. He and Bezichu So if they don't spread out a little bit, Deflate has the potential for a double kill. Although Crimson King spots him and takes him out first.
Platform 1.
James goes down as well. The picks are going the way of Str1ve. The setup and the attack is paying off. That's 3. And Lonwick comes crashing towards objective. Mono has to push up. There's a smoke applied to him. Wookie with a key pickup there. Turns it back into a 2v4. But Mono still pretty tucked in, almost waiting for, again, the push up the stairs. He's so expecting someone there, but no one's there. 2 tablets out here. They're going for the code. Str1ve could get 2 points here. He's still trying to punch it in, still ticking down there. Finally, the cap comes through. Mono thought he had cleared it, but doesn't, and Str1ve bounced back on Subway. We are not counting them out yet, Theta.
Wow. Yeah, and that's like the glaring weakness on that objective. You need to have north side coverage because they can hide behind that map and cap, as we just saw. And both Wookie and Mono sort of got fixated on the south side. Str1ve Gaming, and they only had about 40 seconds left, too. So Str1ve Gaming really coming through at the last second, save themselves from potentially losing this match.
And, you know, we talk about how well they did on Quest and, you know, it being a new map and a place that sort of evens the playing field. Here we go with a new objective. I've seen Mayhem play this very well, and so the Str1ve have to be ready for a good offensive push here on this south stairwell OBJ, but at the same time they could potentially throw out some unique sort of defensive strat here, some unique layout that catches up Mayhem off guard, and maybe a flank, maybe you say, I don't know what the strat will be that Str1ve bring, but that's what they're thinking about right now at this minute and a half between rounds.
Doubt about it. And Mayhem needs to keep their morale up and close this out on this round if they don't want to put themselves in a much more precarious position. And Str1ve Gaming really has to clinch their teeth down and defend this. This is a very dynamic objective. This is not the one you really want in this situation. I think on this map you want the basement objective if you want to have a strong chance at defending your potential comeback. But
True.
We'll see. This is one of the new objectives, so it's still not fully meted, so to speak.
Right.
A lot of teams still figuring this out, even Mayhem.
You ready?
Yeah, I agree with you. They got the fast spawn right up on that north side, so action could unfold right away. See if we get an M203 smoke out towards objective as well, or what, but Bijou is going to take up a very meta spot. Toxic as well. Nothing really out of the ordinary here on this initial layout, except for maybe Lonwick down in the stairs. He could potentially get a kill or two, but even then, that position is definitely going to be thoroughly checked, with possibly some utility even getting tossed at it. So not exactly a unknown position.
Yeah, the value of that spot, maybe you get the double at the very least. You catch a couple of people. Excuse me, you catch one person coming up there. Sorry, I have a frog in my throat this evening. I don't know what's going on, but he decides to abandon that anyway and goes back up the south stairs. So Deflate on his own in the south stairwell.
Yeah, C4 identified by Wookie there. Lonwick taking shots on the corner for Mono. The push certainly coming in for Mayhem. Lonwick actually catches James, and then James drops the nady at Prime to confirm him, and Mono cannot get the res. So Str1ve actually kicking this off. Well, is that another nade? No, a flash goes up and over, a double flash. Mono fully blinded, drops back as smokes allow Lonwick to pump in the rounds. The problem is that through all of this, Wookie and Cappy are advancing nicely up along their lane.
Nicely tossed frag by Wookie.
Lonwick goes down, and Str1ve are crumbling. If the push now comes in from Deflate, it could be bad news. A nice flash there, though, and that's another great bounce off of the wall. The full retreat comes in. Mono is continuing his push, however, and Toxic dips into cover for just a moment. Not enough cover in the world for this Str1ve team as Mayhem surround and attack the objective 4-2 at the end of the day. A near comeback mounted from Str1ve, a fantastic cap. But Mayhem just proving that this is the map that they chose for a reason, because they're confident on it no matter where the objective is. A solid Marsoc push there nets them ultimately the series. And Theta, I want to get your thoughts on this series before we wrap for the day.
Well, it was very exciting, and I feel like in most cases, connoisseur ratings kind of are a little too one-sided, and this is one of those instances where people are just saying, well, this is the more experienced team, they're higher ranked, whatever, so let's just dump all our votes on this one side. But Str1ve Gaming showing that they deserve to at least have a chance at playing teams at this level.
Yeah, they certainly did, and shout out to everyone that tuned in today over on Venues, on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We really do appreciate you. If you are tuning in and you don't know what Venues is, I recommend it. If you have a Quest or Quest 2, go into the App Store, look up Venues. I think it's still in beta, and download that. It's a great space to enjoy VR, watching these VR games like in a movie theater sort of arena where you can watch it with all your friends, and it's, I know, a favorite for a bunch of different people in the community to tune into these Venues games and watch them together. And so I do recommend checking that out if you have the opportunity. These games will be going on every weekend, and the Echo Arena season will be starting soon enough. And so Echo Arena matches will also be showing up on Venues as well. If you're a fan of that game, I recommend tuning in. As I mentioned earlier, we do have prizes that come into our champions at the end of the season during that postseason tournament. Those come from all of our sponsors. Those sponsors are VRCover. VRCover offers great face coverings for any VR headset device. I highly recommend you get one for comfort. It greatly enhances the usability of any VR headset. In terms of usability and comfort, Pro2 VR also offering a great product to enhance your aim. Essentially a stock that you can attach your controllers into, that when you aim with a sniper, for example, Sniper Elite VR out right now, or a sniper in this game, it'll help stabilize your aim so that you can hit all of your shots. To enhance the immersion, they also have a haptic feedback mount version where you can feel the shots of your gun in a bit of a haptic feedback on the shoulder. And in terms of haptic feedback, you also have B Haptics. They offer the full haptic vest where you can feel the impact of your bullets. And then to fully deck yourself out in immersion, you can add the cyber shoes where you can simulate running in real life. That translates to running in game. It's a really cool system to ultimately put that full package of immersion together for you. That is also Quest compatible, so do recommend checking out those products. We also have obviously the sponsorship from HyperX. If you are a fan of HyperX, well, you're hearing them. I'm a fan of them. You're hearing my voice through a HyperX Quadcast S. I'm trying to remember. I believe we have even a HyperX code. I think it's a 20% discount code, only usable in the US. Man, I think it's. I want to say it's HX VRML, but I'm gonna have to look it up. I'll post it in chat. I have a 6-minute delay, so I have some time to search for it. But you'll see it there getting posted around. We have a 20% discount code from HyperX, so if you want to go check that out, I recommend you use that. I should memorize that, but we just got it, so it's fresh, fresh on my mind. We just started promoting that. Also, VRware coming together for our merchandise. They offer great VRML branded water bottles, sweatshirts, t-shirts, all kinds of good stuff. You can find that link over on our website at VRML.com. And obviously Asterion, you've seen their ad coming in. They have a great RGB mount for your headset that also you can plug in to power to charge. It's a great device. I highly recommend it. It also looks really cool. It goes well with the HyperX Quadcast S. The full package really is something else, and that's what you could potentially win if you are a champion in the VRML. So if you want to join, you can head over to VRML.com, and that is my spiel. Oh, I forgot Rebuff Reality also. coming together for all kinds of great additions to your mobile headset in particular. They have great battery packs that enhance the comfort and lifespan of your Quest, in addition to a earphone attachment that'll provide an alternative audio solution to your mobile device. That's going to be it from us here on the desk. My name is Ben Nightfire with 2 E's, my co-caster Theta. If you enjoyed the cast, please hit the follow button. We do these every weekend. In addition, we have more casts that go live over at twitch.tv/onward_VRML. That is where we regularly broadcast games, and then we occasionally do these venues showcases here twice on the weekend. So make sure you're following all of the different channels to get all of the action so you can catch us next week. Until then, talk to you later.